The week I saw 17 people die didn't begin with blood, monsters, or a sadistic serial killer. It all began with a baseball game. Looking back, I wonder if things would have been different had we lost that night. You'd think that winning the league championship would have kicked off the best summer of my life. But it didn't. That summer was my worst. And that's saying something. Despite only being 15 years old, I'd already had some shitty ones. I think that was part of it, our age. My best friend, Chris Watkins, and I had just completed our freshman year at Shadeland High. But despite our inexperience, we were two of the best baseball players in the school. That didn't sit well with Brad Ralston or Kurt Fisher, who were 2 years older and had been the starting varsity pitcher and shortstop until Chris and I came along. On the night I'm talking about, the third evening of June, our head coach was in the stands watching. It made me nervous. Coach Aldrich was an enormous bear-like man with tiny black eyes, a thick Hitler mustache, and though he hardly ever spoke, when he did, you listened. Like a temperamental grizzly bear, I was always afraid he'd maul me. Coach Aldrich's eyes were riveted on me as I stepped to the plate in the top of the ninth inning with 2 outs, my team trailing by 1 and runners on second and third base. Mia Samuels was watching me too. And as much as I feared Coach Aldrich, Mia's opinion counted for far more. Her striking blue eyes and black, punkish hair were a part of that, as was her body, if I'm being totally honest. But even more importantly, she made me feel like I was something other than a loser. There were maybe 200 people in the stands, and the temperature was pushing 90. But I tried to block out the crowd and the heat because Brad Ralston, Mia's asshole boyfriend, was on the mound. And whatever flaws the guy had, he was a flamethrower of a pitcher. He'd already beaten me twice that game. A hard slider to the ribs and a screaming fastball in the hip. And I knew he wouldn't hesitate to obliterate me again. I dug in, told myself to be brave. But when the first pitch howled in and nearly tore my head off, whatever bravery I had evaporated. Trembling, I stumbled out of the batter's box to dust myself off. A voice behind me said, "Relax, Will. If he hits you, it might improve your looks." I turned and saw my best friend waiting in the on-deck circle, his yellow aluminum bat resting on his shoulder. Big words coming from someone as disfigured as you. It was a lie, of course. Every girl in the school wanted to date Chris Watkins. He grinned his lopsided grin. "The longer you wait, the more your balls will shrink." "You're a prick, Watkins," I said under my breath. "Want a hug?" "Piss off," I muttered, and re-entered the batter's box. Ralston was grinning at me, clearly relishing how terrified I was. "Don't worry about that," I told myself. "Don't worry about Brad. Don't worry about Coach Aldrich. Don't even think about Mia, who, by the way, is looking extraordinarily hot tonight." I glanced toward the stands, spotted Mia, and felt my cheeks and temples burn. Then I brushed away several impure thoughts and readied myself for the pitch. As I did, I saw Brad scuffing a cleat into the reddish dirt of the pitcher's mound, the ball looking no larger than a hard-boiled egg in his massive hand. I caught a glimpse of the ugly, worm-colored scar on his wrist, remembered how he'd supposedly sliced it by punching through his bedroom window while in the throes of an ungovernable rage. Brad was still grinning, but I fancied I could distinguish the same maniacal rage in his eyes now as he stepped onto the pitching rubber. I raised my bat, blinked sweat out of my eyes. Brad checked the runners. I waited, bat aloft, and took a quivering breath. Brad started his motion. I tensed, expecting another fastball at my helmet. It blazed right down the middle. I swung. I smashed a fierce grounder at Kurt Fisher, the shortstop and Brad's best buddy. I ran like crazy, thinking I was out for sure. I was a fast runner, but Kurt was built like a tank, had a cannon for an arm, and he was almost always accurate. I glanced to my left to see if the ball was traveling to first base already. But that's when the night took its first surreal turn.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.